So we have just had a deleted scene from the Batman movie featuring the Joker in Arkham Asylum. It's 5 minutes long. It gives us a fantastic look at what would have been and could have been and possibly will be the Joker in the upcoming Batman sequel movie that will inevitably happen. But for today, let's talk about the scene that we've got, break it down, and I will give you my initial thoughts and reaction. Let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome to the Batcave. So, as I said in the intro, Matt Reeves has dropped a deleted scene from The Batman featuring Barry Keoghan's Joker. Now, of course, I'm going to assume that everyone here has seen The Batman and knows that Barry Keoghan's Joker does actually feature within the movie. He has a small, maybe 30 to 60 second scene towards the end of the film with Paul Dano's Riddler at Arkham, where they kind of discuss an ongoing potential friendship. Now, this scene would have been what looks like at the start of the movie because Batman hands the Joker some clues from the Riddler, and I think it's the riddle where Bruce and Alfred ciphered out the word drive, and that's quite near the very beginning. So I'm assuming that Matt Reeves was intending to hit hard pretty early on with an appearance from the clown Prince of Crime. Now, I of course gave my initial thoughts and reaction to this version of the Joker in my full review of the film, so you can check that out if you want my initial thoughts. But of course we get a much clearer view in this clip. Not only is it much clearer, but it's much longer. We get a full dialogue scene. And I will say it from the get-go, this scene won me over much more than the scene that was actually in the movie, which is actually quite ironic, seeing as this one was the one that was cut. Now, I understand the reason for cutting this, but they don't want to give too much of the Joker away when this is essentially a Riddler movie. Well, the Riddler and the Penguin. But personally, I would always prefer an interaction between the Joker and Batman than the Joker and the Riddler. Let's be honest, the Joker and Batman are destined to be enemies. And let's be honest, it was very obvious just from this 4 or 5 minute scene that the chemistry between Robert Pattinson and Barry Keoghan was definitely there, and I'm assuming that that will go great in a future installment. Let's talk about the prosthetics, and the look and the design of this version. Now, of course, we could tell from the movie release scene that this Joker is very, very scarred. Not just on his face and around his mouth, but by the looks of it also all around his head. Now, we don't know what that's from. Could it potentially be from an interaction with the Batman earlier on in his career? After all, at the start of this scene, the Joker tells Batman that it's coming up to their 1-year anniversary. What is he referring to? We know that Pattinson's Batman certainly has some anger issues. Could he have left Joker with those scars? I'm assuming we will find out at some point, whether it be through a novel tie-in, a comic book tie-in, a TV series, or the next film in the trilogy. The other thing that interested me was his hands. We got a really good close-up of his fingers and his hands, and it looked like there was some fresh blood on them. Now, what is that from? Has he been fighting? Has he been scratching up the walls? Or is that blood from his scars? Are his wounds still that deep and still bothering him? And if he touches them or scratches them or whatever, he's getting blood on his hands. Again, we don't know the answers to these questions, but a good filmmaker that wants us to come back for a future installment is going to try and make as many questions from these little snippets as he can. He wants the audience to have these questions so that we want the answers. If you ask me, it was a really clever decision by Warner Brothers, by Matt Reeves, to release this just a few weeks after the release of the movie. It kind of brings back up the hype as it's dying down towards the end of its theatre release. Now let's talk about the dialogue from Barry himself. I said this in my initial review, the voice didn't really win me over. Even though I did prefer this scene, I definitely preferred this look at him, I still feel like he was almost trying to do an impression of Heath Ledger, while also trying to not sound like Heath Ledger. Yes, that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but if you kind of go back and listen to it properly, you'll see what I mean. He's trying to be the Joker, of course, but there's just that element of Heath Ledger. I even felt like I picked up on a few of the little mouth sounds that Heath Ledger was so iconically famous for doing. Those little, you all know what I mean. You Dark Knight fans know. No one can do that except Heath, and I feel like whether it was intentional or not, or whether it was even just a little nod to Heath's performance, I didn't like it. Try and be more original. As for the laugh, which in my opinion is one of the most important things to get right if you are going to play the Joker. Jack Nicholson absolutely nailed it. Heath Ledger absolutely nailed it. Hell, even Jared Leto had a different spin on the laugh, and I liked all three. Barry's laugh, however, well, it kind of left me sort of cringing. Again, it sounded a little to me like he was just trying to do an impression of the Joker and not be the Joker. It felt very forced. It felt like if I was to do an impression of the Joker character, that's kind of how it would come out. Again, this isn't a dig at Barry Keoghan. He's a fantastic actor, and I'm sure if he got the time to portray and to build up this character the way that perhaps he deserves to do, then he would absolutely smash it out the park. I'm sure it would be fantastic. But for these small sequences, for these small scenes, it just didn't quite hit the nail on the head for me. You guys may totally disagree, but that's what I'm saying. Of course, I'm referring mainly now to the laugh. His overall look, aesthetic, vibe and feel, it felt creepy, it felt real, and that's how the Joker should feel. This is of course also a very young version of the Joker, so he still has plenty of time to escape from Arkham, build up his entire backstory, and become the Joker that we are used to seeing. So I shouldn't be, and I wouldn't be, and I won't be, too quick to judge this performance. Overall, I really liked this scene. It would have been nice for them to have kept it in the movie, but I also understand why they cut it out. It fit exactly with the vibe and the feel of the Batman film, and I really dug the way that Pattinson was looking at him. You could tell just through the look in his eyes, no other facial expressions under that cowl, just his eyes, that there was history between them. It would have been nice to have some fully in-focus shots of the Joker's face so we could see that return look from him, see how he looks at Batman. We can tell that he obviously respects him, that he enjoys this kind of back and forth between the two of them. And it would have been nice to have seen that acted out, if you know what I mean. But overall, it was creepy, it was intense, it worked. And again, they've gone with a very real take on the villain. So it's very similar to how they took Paul Dano as the Riddler, in a sense of him being this real serial killer type character, closer to the Zodiac killer than a comic book villain. And I feel that that's the way they are going with the Joker. He's clearly just a serial killer that's lost his mind and is very, very dangerous. And that's exactly what needs to be for this universe. Okay, there we have it. That's pretty much my thoughts on this scene, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'm actually out of the office for a few days, which is why I couldn't film myself for this video. I'm just using a microphone I've got at home and recording a quick reaction for you. So I didn't want to miss out on this huge drop from Matt Reeves. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know again what you thought of the scene in the comments down below. Do you think Barry Keoghan has the potential to go on to be a great Joker? We've had many great Jokers. We've had a few poor Jokers. Where will he sit in the list of actors to play this awesome character? Let me know. Okay guys, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and return to the Batcave for more Bat content. See you guys.